Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Today I want to talk about one of the challenges as far as thrift store shopping and just saving money when it comes to home decor. The challenge that I have had is wall art. So here is a good example of that. Okay, so this I got at the thrift store for $4 the other day, okay? And it's mass produced, but it was produced probably in the 70s, so I like the subject matter better than what I find mass produced now in the stores. So it's okay that it's mass produced because I like the subject matter. This right here is what I don't care for. It's the gold foil frame, and I don't care for this little red trim here. So I'm going to show you what to do if you find wall art that you like the art itself, but the frame is not going to work for you at all, because we can actually change this and make it into something that we love. So stick around and I'll take you through step by step how to fix this frame. So what I'm going to do first is just take a sharp edge tool. Mine's a wood carving tool, but it certainly doesn't have to be. Just anything that's got a little sharp edge on it that's going to help us peel up this foil. So you can start at any area that you want. Sometimes if there's already damage, you can start in that area. I have some damage right here, so I could start peeling there or there. I'm just going to start at this corner here. Okay, and so getting started is the toughest part, just getting kind of under there. And once you get that going, you'll get large pieces that will just peel right off. And something to keep in mind is that under the foil, oftentimes there'll be a super thin layer of like a paper, and we're going to have to get that off later. So as much as you can get off now is helpful. And also, another thing to keep in mind while you're peeling the foil off, especially if you do have a sharp tool like this, is that most likely you're going to find pine under here, which is a very soft wood. And so you want to be careful not to actually carve into the wood. If you want to, you can carve into it later, but I wouldn't do it at this point because you can't really see what you're carving. So just any way you can kind of get under that foil to start peeling. And like I said, in the beginning, just getting under there can be a bit of a challenge, but once you get it going, it's really not too bad. It comes off pretty good. So I'd say I've been at this about 20 minutes, and I have, from this corner to this corner done. I still have to do this part and the edge. So that's about how time consuming it is, just to kind of give you an idea. Now, as I get closer, I'm going to need to take this out of the frame so I don't damage the picture. So if we just flip it over, you can tear through it, but so this is what you'll find. And even if it's a real canvas, this is typically, you're not going to find these staples holding it in. Usually it'll be taped, but this is just what you'll find typically. So then what I'll do is I'll just take a pliers and pull out each of these staples and remove the picture so I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. So what we have here, it looks like pretty rough. You can see that. You can see that, the wood has gotten fairly beat up from me scraping the foil off. And depending on the piece, the last time I did this, the foil came off really easily. This one did not come off so easily. But you never really know until you get at it and get under it and see what it's going to do. But my wood carving tools did come in really handy because this one's got a little curve on it, and so I was able to follow the detail of the wood in places, so that did come in really handy. But don't get nervous at this point if your piece looks really, really rough, okay? Because see along here, still has just little touches of gold, but I'm going to go after it with sandpaper after I completely remove all the foil. I still have this bottom part to do, and then I'll go at it with the sandpaper. So now I have all the gold foil off, and I am going to start sanding and see what I come up with as far as how much of this detail I can actually save, because some of the detail will have to be sanded out just in order to get rid of some of the damage that was done while I was scraping off the foil. So I've gotten all the gold foil off, and what I'm going to do with these ridges in here is you could use a hobby sander like this. That would go really nicely into the edges, okay? So you could use that, but I am going to use my Dremel with a sanding bit. It'll go a little bit faster. If you do use a Dremel, keep in mind that the pine is really soft, and so you have to use a really light touch and a very steady hand while you're sanding these detail areas. I've finished using my Dremel in all these little detail areas. Now I'm going to go through with my hobby sander, and this works great because you just kind of run it along there, and it really smooths out any of the rough stuff left by the Dremel. After the Dremel and the hobby sander, I'm going to go over it one final time with regular sandpaper and make sure I have all of this paper off and all the gold foil. So now I'm ready to stain, and because I have the pine, you can see I've already been staining, but because it's pine, it's going to be lighter than most of the stains will show at the store when you're looking for stain. Usually they show it on oak, and so just keep in mind if you're staining pine that it's going to be lighter and it's going to have more of a gold tone to it. So I'm not a big fan of the gold, so I'm going to use a really dark stain. The darkest I could find, actually, it's almost black. It's called Ebony. So I'm just going to put this on first. And just make sure I get it into all the corners and nooks and crannies. And I'm pretty much going to start wiping it off as soon as I get the whole thing covered. Okay. Now I'm going to go back with a clean cloth or paper towel and go ahead and start wiping it off back where I started. So I'm done wiping this off. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for a few minutes. And then I'm going to go in with a stain with red tones to give it just a little bit more dimension. But that's what it looks like with the ebony. It's pretty nearly black. But you can see where the wood has different character. Kind of pulls that out. Now I'm going in with the red stain. It's called Cognac. And then I'm just going to wipe this straight off. I don't want to keep too much red, just a touch. There. Now see, this one is the one that I added the red stain. This is without the red stain. I feel like adding just a little bit of red just gives it a little more character. So now I'm going to do this around the rest of the frame, and we'll have a nice rustic frame. Well, I'm really happy with my frame results. I feel like it really had a big impact on actually how the picture looks. I like the picture better since I redid the frame. So I'll show you a picture of it so you can see it better, but that's it. I feel like it really draws the colors out better than the gold did. So anyway, that was a fun project. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.